Hello, my dear friends. My dear friends, I am once again back, this time back with the summary of William Faulkner's first novel, that is Soldier's Pay, that was published or brought into print by him in the year 1926. Remember that 1926 was the year that witnessed the publication of William Faulkner's first novel, Soldier's Pay. And this novel is all about a soldier. The name of the soldier is Donald Mahon, Donald Mahon, Donald Mahon. He is an American, remember that. He is an American working in the British Air Force as aviator and a lieutenant as well. He has been badly been wounded in the World War One. Why? Because I told you that he is an aviator in the British Air Force fighting in the World War One, in which he has badly been wounded and injured. So he is admitted in the hospital with multiple energy and the head injury. And the head injury to some extent has deprived him of his vision, of the light of his eyes. At that time, when he is discharged from the hospital, he has lots of scars, SCARS, scars on his face and body, and almost no vision in his own eyes. So he is left blind with lots of scars in his own body. Now, he is seen moving away from the hospital after being discharged from there with a more mature, older, you can say older, and you can say this a retired, fellow soldier whose name is whose name is Joe Gilligan, and with a woman nurse, Margaret Powers. Why? Because he cannot, to great extent he cannot see, to great extent he cannot speak a lot. It is all because of that. He is discharged from the hospital, and these two people, Joe Gilligan, and a woman nurse whose name is Margaret Powers, decide to accompany him his home back in Georgia, in Mississippi, a southern US state. So my dear friends, let's go through the summary of this novel in detail, covering all the important incidents of this novel and all the important characters. So let's begin. See, Soldier's Pay. Remember that first novel published by William Faulkner. First published novel. It does not mean the first written novel. Maybe he was working on some other novel, but this novel was published first. So, first published novel, published in 1926. Remember that the publication of this novel was 1926, published by Bonnie and Liber Wright. Remember that these were the two people who get the credit of publishing Faulkner's first novel. Next very important fact, this novel is divided into 6 chapters. Remember that the novel is divided into 6 chapters. Now let's look at the summary. The novel narrates the tale of an experienced World War I soldier, Donald Mayhem, getting home back at the conclusion of the World War I with mortal injuries and impersonal conflicts. Means when the novel begins, we get to know that the World War I is over. It means 1919. For your kind information, I would like to tell you that the World War I began in the year 1914 around and ended in the year 1919. So 1919 is the year mentioned in this suggested novel. Why? Because when the novel begins, we get to know that the World War I is ended. An American named Donald Mayhem, working as an aviator pilot in the British Air Force, is badly injured and wounded. He is admitted in the hospital with multiple injuries and head injuries. After that, after receiving certain treatment, now he is discharged, but with little or almost no vision in the eyes and lots of scars on the body. And he is now heading for his hometown, Georgia, somewhere in the southern US state, that is Mississippi, with Joe Gilligan, a mature, old, you can say soldier, retired from the army, or retired from the same British Air Force, and one nurse named Margaret Powers. So see what happens further. So now Donald Mayhem getting home. Now he's going home after being discharged from the hospital. Why? Because the World War I is ended, and with mortal injuries and impersonal conflict, lots of conflicts he has also. So the World War is over, World War I is over, in which he has badly been injured, and after receiving certain kind of treatment, now he is discharged from the hospital, and with him he has an old father figure like soldier from the same you can say force, that is the British Air Force, and a nurse for taking care of this man. Why? Because this man has no vision, almost no vision in his own eyes. Mentally, he's absolutely not sound at all, speaks very little and weak at all. It's all because of that. These two people, this father-like father-like person, this Joe Gilligan, and a woman nurse, Margaret, this Margaret Powers. They go with him. They go with him. Why? Because they know that leaving this man all alone would be dangerous for this man. So now Mehan getting home back to at the conclusion, means at the end of the war, with mortal injuries and impersonal conflicts, he has nearly lost eyesight, I told you, and suffers loss of memory. So see, because of the serious head injury that he's just got in the World War One, now he has to great extent lost his vision, and to some extent suffers from the loss of memory. Now he cannot remember lots of things. Lots of things have permanently just been erased from his own mind because of the head injury that he has received in the World War One, and suffers from loss of memory as well. So he prefers being reticent, reserved most of the time. So see, this young just a soldier who is the protagonist of this novel, to some extent has lost his vision, to some extent has suffered the loss of the memory because of the head injury, and that's why he does not speak a lot and remains silent most of the time. Joe Gilligan, a discharged soldier. Remember that. Joe Gilligan is a discharged soldier, and Margaret Powers, or widowed war nurse. Widowed war nurse, why? Because this nurse lost her husband in the World War One. Her husband was killed in the World War One. She's a young widowed nurse. She's young one. These two people, this Joe Gilligan, a discharged soldier, and Margaret Powers, a widowed war nurse, accompany him. So these two people, Joe Gilligan and this Margaret Powers, they decide to accompany Donald Mayhem. Why? Because Donald Mayhem to some extent is blind, and to some extent suffers from the loss of the memory. So they go with him. Joe is strong. Remember that Joe Gilligan is a strong and a steadfast old man who considers just Donald his son, for he never has hand. Remember that. Joe Gilligan is more mature. He is many years senior to Donald, many years senior to